Okay, you guys, I'm super, super excited to have Henry share with us. I just want to tell you a little bit. Henry has been like, all of a sudden he starts sneaking in these conversations. Like, I'm going to be doing a recording with Mitra Ray, and I'm going to be doing a recording with Beverly Grandison. And, we're doing all this stuff about Tower Gardens. I'm like, wow, that's awesome. So, Henry, I am so, so excited to learn from you. I know you're speaking for other people's teams, other NMDs. You're teaching them what you're going to bring to us tonight. And we're so blessed to have you on the team and to have, I always call Henry our Tower Garden King. I mean, he knows this stuff inside and out, and he's a fabulous resource to everyone. And he doesn't just stop with himself. Henry wants the greater good for the whole mission of Juice Plus, and that's he just is shining in that arena. So, so proud of you, Henry, and I'm excited to hear from you. I'm going to show up and turn it over to you.
Thanks, Denny. If you could enable the screen share, that'd be awesome.
Yep.
And for everyone else listening, again, thanks for taking the time out of your evening. We are going to run a little late tonight. I did this presentation for Beverly Grandison's Team Infinity last night, and I pared it down to about 20 minutes here, so just so you know what to expect. I want you to grab a pen and paper, and you're going to write down a list of words. We're going to call these education buzzwords. And so when you're talking to educators, then these are the words that you want to be using in your vernacular, whether it's an email, whether it's a Facebook, first connection, or in person. These are the buzzwords for education, okay? I'm gonna share my screen for you here. I've customized this a little bit. So what you will see on tonight is not necessarily the presentation that I give for the Grow Your Mind presentations, which some of you have attended. I do these twice a month on the first Monday and the third Thursday. So if you want to take a picture of the slide, you can. I do this with a number of Tower Gardeners, Beverly Grandison and Troy Richardson, and some of these names you may not know, but you'll get to know them if you come to conference and stuff. And we always start out with this phrase here: teachers are capturing the minds of today's students, and you are about to witness a program that has captured the minds and hearts of students and educators alike. That's not actually accurate. The 25 countries, that's Juice Plus, right? But Tower Gardens, we can share Tower Gardens in the US. And so that's the schedule right there. Join our Grow Your Mind webinars each month, first Monday and the third Thursday of every month. And I put this on our Team Believe calendar as well. So you can always check on the Zoom link and the password for that. We move into the importance of why a teacher would want Tower Gardens in there. And so we actually have like superintendents and administrators and stuff attend those presentations. But for you, because all of you are reps, I'm going to teach you a little different. I'm going to give you a preview of what to expect, so you know what to invite or how to invite. But I'm also going to teach you on how to actually talk to educators, okay? The first thing is there needs to be a problem. Many of you know when you went through the freedomrevolution.com and you go through the getting started with your business why, there's a sequence of events that we follow. It's called PLOT. What is the pain? What's the learning, the opportunity, and the transformation, or the, what do we call it? The, what's available at the end of this, right? So PLOT. Instead of just going out there and word vomiting at teachers, because we get that all the time. I remember as a classroom teacher, we would get hundreds of emails from people saying, hey, this would be good, this would be good, this would be good. Show them what the problem is. The problem is sustainability. This is one. I'm gonna give you an example. This is what farms look like. This is what they look like today, and this is what they're going to look like. And so the standards, that's their first buzzword. Go ahead and write that down, standards. All the lessons that are taught in classrooms today are based on a set of national standards, which the state has the ability to come up with state standards that say by the end of 5th grade, then students in the state of Ohio need to know X. And here in, I think in the state of Ohio, the standards are in 4th grade, 6th grade, 7th grade, 9th grade, and 11th grade for environmental sciences. And it changes every single year. So But sustainability is one of the main standards that they're leaning towards now. And so instead of our deserts looking like this, or our farmlands looking like this in the future, it's not a matter of if this is going to happen. It's a matter of when, and how are we going to be, how well are we going to be prepared for the future. And so this is what a typical classroom looked like when you and I were in school. You might relate to this guy who's like, looked like he's sleeping or bored or disengaged and disconnected. And so we go through, what if your classroom looked like this? Dr. Stephen Ritz, we're going to have him as a special guest speaker as one on one of our Grow Your Mind webinars. It was going to be on the 20th. That has been postponed. And I'll give you more details on Team Believe Voxer later about that. What if your classroom looked like this? And so there's another buzzword here, project-based learning, PBL. Anyone in education, whether you're a classroom teacher, gifted, special ed, they will know what PBL is, project-based learning, from daycares all the way through high school and college. And another common word for that is problem solving or real life application. You know, instead of just lecturing and sitting there and taking notes and regurgitating that, we're looking for hands-on activities, real life application. So project-based learning just means that, all right, you present a problem to the kids and then they get to solve it. And so this is a turnkey thing that they can make all sorts of different problem-based learning activities. And then we show them what the Tower Garden looks like, what some benefits are. I'm not going to play you this video because most of you have seen this before, but it's on YouTube, and you can find it on thefreedomrevolution.com as well. You can find this video as well, how a Tower Garden works. And so we show that to the educators. If you're writing an email, then I would suggest sending them both of these videos, the time lapse, because that's super impressive, and then how it works. But what I do is when I send them that video, I never send them a single video. I always send them the playlist that I've created that has this at the beginning. So when it autoplays, then it doesn't autoplay into something that is anti-Tower Gardens or anti-Juice Plus, or has something to do with whatever they were watching last night. But it goes through a series of videos that are all about Tower Gardens and pro Tower Gardens. This is a slide that Sonia and Antonio had put together, and it shows you the benefits of Tower Gardens. I'm not going to go through all those with you guys, but you can read these or take a snapshot of what these are. And so we go through these with the educators and the benefits of a Tower Garden, and then also compare it to soil. This was actually done by the University of Mississippi, I think, and a Tower Farm down in Georgia, and then also True Gardens out in Arizona. And so I want to highlight just this one bullet point here. What I do share with them is the year-round growing. That's super important because the school year, if you think about it, goes now from late August through May. Kids are graduating in May now. Well, when is the growing season? So our school put together an $11,000 grant. And I'm not too big on numbers, but I'm going to share these numbers with you. 3,000 and 8,000, okay? I know this is only four fingers, but if I had 8 fingers on this hand. So $3,000 went into Tower Gardens, and that was able to go all year round. We were able to use it indoors, outdoors, the entire school year. The other $8,000 went to an outdoor, a raised bed with hoop houses and everything like that, that we were only able to use a month and a half of the entire school year because they were outdoors. And so for the fraction of that cost, if the $3,000, we got 10 times the amount of value out of it because you can grow Tower Gardens indoors. We also go into other problems. This is what your and my lunch probably looked like when we were in elementary school, right? We have this bagel pizza that has a sausage that was recycled from yesterday's breakfast burrito that was recycled from Monday's whatever, right? And then an applesauce that probably has so much preservative in it that it doesn't even need to be refrigerated. And don't get me started on dairy and inflammatory qualities of that, right? And so they say, oh, well, we give our school lunches, they have, you know, lettuce, iceberg lettuce. And let's be honest, the kids throw that away, right? So what if the foods look like this? And then the teachers start asking, okay, so you can grow all these things on a Tower Garden. So definitely have in your camera roll some pictures that you looked up on Google. If you Google Tower Gardens, you'll see these on there. And you don't have to memorize all the things that you can grow in there, but you can tell them it grows anything under the sun that grows above ground. And so we've even be able to improvise if you go to your Tower Garden website, so dennybenedict.towergarden.com, right? Or donmcmaster.towergarden.com, then you can pull up a lot of these pictures. You can look at a lot of different lesson plans. I'm going to show you some of those here in a minute. And then a lot of people that live in urban areas, right? Food pantries and all that kind of stuff. This is what if they had fresh food available to them, right? And so we go through a study that was done by Ohio State University and Cornell University that kids that grow their own food are 5 times more likely to eat it. And so we get emails from parents saying, hey, we were at the grocery store and the kid asked, my kid asked, hey, can we get curly kale or dino kale? I didn't even know my kid knew what kale was. What are you doing? What are you teaching our kid? And that's a good thing, right? And so we love getting emails like that and comments from parents. But beyond that, they're learning about sustainability in the classroom. They're learning about the differences between plant and animal cells in the classroom. They're learning about these lessons, these state standards. But deeper than that, they're changing their cravings. And so if you've ever heard of Dr. Mitra Ray, then you know that she's all about microbiome. And so the kids that eat this stuff that may not be available at home for whatever reason, you are what you eat. And so these gut bacteria, good and bad, good bacteria in your gut is called probiotics. And so I'll give you a little lesson on probiotics. Probiotics is a fancy word for healthy bacteria. And what do probiotics eat? They eat prebiotics, which is vine-ripened fruits and vegetables, raw fruits and vegetables. And so when they're eating off the Tower Gardens, then these students will go home and continue eating that. It'll change their habits for a lifetime. And it goes deeper than that, because once they have kids, then they're going to be teaching their kids and training their guts. And so we tell the teachers that this is not just a one and done deal after the kids leave your classroom. This is going to have a generational impact on their kids and their great grandkids that they'll never even actually meet. And it's because of you that those kids are going to be healthier. And then question always comes up for teachers: how much does it cost, right? And so we tell them 2 things. One, it'll pay for itself. And so this was studied. You can take a snapshot of this slide too. This is a 6-month yield that was done by, I think this was done again by University of Mississippi, and then also the Tower Farm down in Georgia. And this is the low produce price. This is not organic. This is just conventional price. And then this is how much yield off of a Tower Garden, and that's the savings. And so you can see some of the crops, like beans, it's not as big a savings, but when you get into things like lettuce and stuff like that, then you have a lot of savings. So that's first, that it'll pay for itself. Second, that we can secure grants, because a school is a nonprofit. A school is a public entity. And so you can find grants from their Rotary clubs. Write this down. So you can find funding from the city Rotary Club. You can go to the PTO or PTA, whatever your district calls it, parent teacher organization or association. And they always are willing to give money towards teachers' projects, but they just don't know which projects. So talk to the teacher first and say, all right, let's go to the PTO now. When you present it to the PTO, then you can tell them, Mrs. Ashley in 4th grade down the hall loves this idea. She just needs funding. And they're like, okay, cool. We know who's it going towards. And I have a daughter in Miss Ashley's class. I'm going to vote yes. You can find grants from Walmart. We found a grant from Bob Evans, of all places. Maybe they felt guilty, right? And so we tell them, okay, so then at that point, they're captivated. Okay, tell me more about what it looks like, the models. And so we show them the home and the flex. And if they're too overwhelmed, you can say, oh, just buy one of each. And so that's what Delaware City Schools did. They just bought one of each, and then they're going to see which one works better and then buy more. You can show them what a single Tower Garden naked looks like, so they know it comes with all the bells and whistles, plug, turnkey, right? All the nutrients, pH, grow kit, pump, timer, everything, even seeds. And then be sure to tell them that they can buy seeds beyond the ones that are provided for them here. And then show them what it'll look like. So this is an example of what it look like. They can get a single tower, or they can get a family garden, which is also known, write this down, this is a science bundle. A science bundle is a family garden that comes with all sorts of other bells and whistles like cages, tomato cages for vine plants, and then also dollies. And then our school got extensions with it. I think the extensions come with some of these with the science bundle. And then we got lights, obviously, because the school year happens over the winter. Or they can upgrade it into a 12 tower garden. So 12 tower gardens is called a community garden. Anything over a 12 garden community garden is called a tower farm. Once you start getting into tower farms, then a home office comes in and helps us out with that. And so if you're interested in that, if you do have someone to talk to, then reach out to Denny, reach out to Lori, Danette, myself. There's a bunch of us that have started the ball rolling with some of that stuff. So show them a picture of what that looks like. Again, you can just do a Google search for tower farms and have that prepared so they know that this is not something that you invented. Like, you are not the expert, right? Connect them with an expert. And so when I'm talking with someone, then yeah, I know a lot, but I always say, hey, I don't know everything about tower gardens. I'm not the expert on this, but I know someone else who can answer some more questions. So it's a third, fourth, fifth party validation. Don't be the expert. Where can you find these tower gardens or tower farms? And so here is a URL, and I can send you this too, of all the tower farms that you can find, and they update this map. You can find them in Spain, Hawaii, Alaska. I mean, you click on any of these and it'll show you like where they are. That's O'Hare Airport, 26 tower gardens over there. And the 60 some restaurants share the produce. It's between Terminal 2 and Terminal 3. So if you're in O'Hare Airport, next time you're there, check them out. I'm flying there on Saturday. I'll take some pictures for you. That's like not a joke. I'm actually flying there on Saturday. All right. So then we look into, so again, we're not just looking at school settings, education in general. Where are the kids going to apply this later? So community centers, salad and jar parties. Some of you have been to those before the whole pandemic thing, right? They're elderly. All of them have parents and grandparents, right? Fire departments and stuff. Usually fire departments, they're eating unhealthy. Ask Terry Lawson, right? Her husband eats this stuff all the time over at the station. What if we could turn this into this? And so Houston fire departments, they have them in there. This is a senior living socialization tool. And so this is the problem-solving world life application that we were talking about before. And then even over, this is a really cool one. This is 25 gardens on top of a solar-powered homeless shelter. And it's also a food pantry. And so if you just look this up, Tower Garden Farms in Hollywood, then you'll find this one too. And you can put some of those pictures on your camera roll and share. This is actually over at Denny's house. This was a 14-day window. And so you can show them how fast it grows. Take a picture of yourself with a tower garden. If you have never touched a tower garden, then you can't come from a place of authenticity when you're talking to people about it. And so I would encourage you, just like Beverly and Johnny Grand, to say, buy one, grow one, share one. So you can not only see it, but you can touch, feel, and taste it. So come on over to Denny's house, take a picture of yourself with it, or come to one of our schools or whatnot. Go outside of Antonio and Sonia's house. They have it out front. Maybe call Denny first, but or Voxer her, right? And then show them other pictures of what communities look like. And so there's tons and tons of tower gardens all over the world. And just to show you a couple of different ones here, again, you can snapshot this here. This is these are examples of urban farms. I'll show you the next slide here. 3, 2, 1. Here's another one, greenhouse farms. Check this out, Tulsa, Oklahoma, 1,300 tower gardens. Mesa, Arizona, they've actually added more to True Gardens now, so that's not accurate. Okay, greenhouse farms, indoor farms. That's Chicago O'Hare Airport is included in that one. Next slide here, 3, 2, 1. And rooftop farms. So where they're looking at restaurants and stuff like that. And so these are, again, real life applications. We have some Tower Garden schools that partner with industries around the area. We here in Columbus, Ohio, we have Urban Gems, which has 52, 54 Tower Gardens, I think now. And they go out to the community and they teach the community how to do cooking lessons. They sell the produce at farmers markets. And so again, this is a real life, real world problem solving tool. Another buzzword, cross curriculum. Cross curriculum. You use that word, especially with administrators, because they don't want to invest in something that's only going to be used for 26 students in a classroom. They want to make sure that you can use it for multiple classes. So we use it in the high school level for our biology, environmental science classes, our special ed, our global gourmet, our foods and fitness. They use it to put zoodles and all sorts of stuff on the, and cook them healthy toppings on pizzas, and even the business classes. So cross curriculum just means multiple disciplines that share the Tower Gardens. So that's the presentation that I usually go through with people. Again, that map of Tower Farms around the world. And then again, this is my camera roll. I keep pictures of our Tower Gardens that we have in our classroom, Urban Gems. I take some videos. If you want some videos, then I can share these with you. I have a Google Photos folder called Tower Gardens, and you can steal any of these photos. And most of these I stole from the internet. You just Google Tower Gardens, Tower Farms. I do have a playlist here that I've added some of the videos from thefreedomrevolution.com. It's a great source of videos. It has a couple of these, but I like the one that Stephen Ritz does, that is Tower Garden Schools. It's awesome. We show it during the presentation. You can look that up, or I can, if you want it, then Vox me, I'll send it to you. And then I show them what true gardens look like, because this is an awesome website, especially when you scroll all the way down to the bottom. I would highly, highly, highly suggest watching the 2 videos at the bottom. They just released this one last month, and these are 10 and 11 minutes long. And it shows you exactly what, like a big picture of these. I mean, I don't know anyone that watches these 2 videos and says, no, Tower Gardens are silly. And if you're looking for student lesson plans, buzzword lesson plans, because right now documentation is a huge thing. So lesson plans, you can find lesson plans on your website, right? So your first name, last name, towergarden.com, click on the school gardens, and then they've got some videos and the lesson plans down at the bottom. These are what the lesson plans look like. So by grade, pre-K, K1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, etc. And you can download these. So I actually print these off when I'm talking to schools. Then I have mine with me on hand, so I can show them and I can give them those Tower Garden lessons, and I can tell them exactly where to find it. So I printed this one off of here because I work primarily with older kids. And yeah, that's usually what I show during those presentations. So again, first Monday of every month and every third Thursday of the month. This Thursday, the third Thursday of August, we may be postponing that. So I'll keep you informed on the Team Believe Voxer. That's all I got.
That was awesome. Thank you so much. I took a whole page of notes, and if you're open to it, Henry, I'd love to open it up to a couple questions. If anybody needs
Sure.
to get off, you can, but if anybody has questions, I would love for you to just take a little time to answer those.
I have
Anybody?
a question, Henry.
Yep.
So we know that there's like the mineral blend and different things to upkeep the Tower Garden. Do we have any prices of what it will cost them throughout the year once they purchase the gardens? What it will cost to maintain it?
That's a great question, and it really depends on what they're growing.
Okay.
Yeah, so I mean that's something that we can definitely look up, or you can write an email to Tower Gardens to ask them what
Okay.
that looks like.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, but there's also if you jump onto the resource Tower Garden User Exchange, that's a Facebook group. there's almost 26,000 tower gardeners that are part of that group. And there's all sorts of inquiries that are cataloged by topic. And so
Okay.
add the teacher to that group, even if they're interested in Tower Garden, because if they see that group, then they'll be able to communicate with other schools and get their
Oh.
their questions answered. The students can, jump on the teacher's computer and search for those answers as well during class. And Joe D actually suggests a couple different. He's like the expert. All sorts of different nutrient blends.
Okay. Now, I have another question. With what's going on with the academics and the school systems right now,
Mhm.
how will they incorporate Tower Gardens into virtual lesson planning?
That's a great question. So Denise Jones, who I don't think is on this call right now, but is Dawn McMaster's upline. She is encouraging her. She's an elementary principal. She has suggested to some of her teachers, so Angie, they're getting Tower Gardens and putting them in their garages, and so they can virtually teach from them, and they can write it off, right? Or they can get it paid by the school because it's a school tool, and they get to eat the produce off of it. Now, one thing that she's doing is she's taken off some of the harvest, and she packs lunches for all the kids. Denise is just, oh my gosh,
Oh my
over the
gosh.
top.
Okay.
She's enrolled her bus drivers and her teachers to pack lunches every day, and her bus drivers to deliver the lunches to the kids every day.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Yeah. And of course, she can't do that with just one Tower Garden, but that's why she's getting more.
Wow. Okay.
That's awesome. I have a question. When you were talking about cross curriculum, I can remember several years ago, and I think you might have been with me, the science teacher, Carmen Maxwell's husband. Do you remember that presentation? He was talking about the Tower Garden, and he said that it's really important to bring forth that this is STEM curriculum. Is
Yeah.
that something you would agree with?
Yeah. So that's another buzzword, STEM.
Oh
STEM is
wow.
science, technology, and engineering and math or something like that.
I think,
STEM programs.
yeah.
Now it's STEAM. Art is included.
Art, you're right. Art, it was added.
Science, technology, engineering,
Mm.
art, and math. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, yeah, if you tell them cross curriculum and they ask, well, how? Then yeah, you can bring up the STEM or STEAM. You can bring up special ed. You can bring up gifted programs, curriculum directors, but always student centered. Student centered. That's another buzzword. Whenever you're looking at like how is this going to be good, then don't focus on the teacher. Focus on the student learning, because that's what the education systems are emphasizing. If it's not good for student learning, then we're not going to invest in it.
Mhm.
Sure.
Any other questions? Well, Henry, I thank you
I
so.
do.
Oh, great. Go ahead,
Can
Nikki.
you hear me? Sorry. This is going to come from left field, Henry, and I'm sorry to hit you with this, but a lot of us are homeschooling.
Oh.
So the homeschooling route, how do you think, because I have some people that are doing like co-ops. So I'm almost wondering if somehow, this might be an email that needs to go to Tower Garden, whoever, if they could write it off, because I do have like a teacher in the neighborhood who is going to be teaching other neighborhood children. And I'm like, wait, she might want this because they're in second grade, so how could she write it off? How could she do that? Is that something that you've ever heard about, or that you guys have maybe in your ear heard something recently?
Yeah, that question was presented in one of the presentations. If they're connected with a teacher, and so we're looking at a hybrid model. That's one of the things that I think Dublin Schools is moving towards, where they're not full in the classroom, they're not full virtual, but they're going to be doing a little bit of both. Then the teacher can fill out the grant information, and I have several grants that I can send you that have the the information filled out for that school, and then you just copy and paste it, or that teacher can copy and paste it. And then they can get it through the school as long as the teacher has a relationship with that parent. Unfortunately, most of those grants are only offered to public schools and nonprofits. But there's other grants out there that you could, like Walmart. Every year they have grants that go towards students, and it goes directly towards their education. So I would start there with Walmart.
Could I add one thing? I just spoke with Trust, my ex-head of school, and she was saying there are millions of dollars out there for COVID grants. So I don't know if that's something that would work for this or not.
What did you say, Lori? For what?
COVID for schools, grants for schools to help with COVID.
Oh,
She said she's writing grants every day for that, all day long for her school.
interesting.
So I could ask her for some of the ideas, or we can just Google.
That would be great, because I think that's a huge market of parents who want to stay home. Nikki, that's such a fantastic question.
Right.
Talked to so many parents who are saying, I'm doing it myself this year.
Yeah.
Any
I
other questions? Oh, sorry, Henry.
just put in the chat 2 links. The first one, Nikki requested Tower Garden Farms. That's the map that I showed you. And then the second one that I just put in there is Tower Garden Schools YouTube playlist. And so that YouTube playlist has recordings of our Grow Your Mind Part 1 and 2. So if you'd like to preview the entire presentation that we do on the first Monday and the third Thursday, then you can just watch it there. Or if you have a teacher that can't make it to any of those, then you can send them that video.
And so that is specifically for teachers and educators and administrators.
Correct. And I always present, but there's also other teachers, counselors, administrators. I think sometimes there's a superintendent that comes on. He's really good. And sometimes we have a student, Philip, who shares about his experience in the classroom too.
Awesome. All right. Well, Henry, this has just been fantastic. I thank you so much for your training. I'm going to stop the recording.